Yo, do us a favor and yourself a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Make sure to tap that notification bell as well so you can stay updated. Now let's get to the video.
This is iLLANOiZE Radio with Biko, Illinois Jones, and Pretty Riot going down right now.
Yo, what's good? It's the one and only Illinois Jones. Right now, you're tuned into the dopest thing to hit the street since crack cocaine. Listen, whoa. I got me a drink in my hand. Y'all. Listen, we got the one and only, you feel me, Tequila, CEO of Jon Basíl, Uduimoh Umolu in the building with us, y'all. Make some noise. You feel me? For sure.
Appreciate
We gotta take a shot today.
We gotta take a shot. Can we take a shot?
Come on, let's sip to it.
Listen, it's not every day you get to take a shot with the CEO. You hear me? It's not every day.
Full shot. Wow. Y'all are different right now.
Whoa. Listen, you don't get to do that every day.
That was
you
like
feel
a
me?
Triple right there, bro.
Oh, for sure. Listen, I can feel it. You feel me? Man. Oh, man. Listen, drop the bomb on the shot. Man, thank you for coming to hang out with us today, brother. I know you've been busy from Africa to LA and back.
My brother, thank you for having me, man. I'm a big fan of the station. Love what y'all doing for the culture, for the community and everything. So appreciate y'all reaching out, having me on the show.
It's a blessing, man. Uduimoh, man. Where can we listen? It's just so much to talk about. It's Black History Month. We drinking black tequila in the building. I would like to know, like, you know, for where did it start for you, and like what was the beginnings like for you, man?
Oh man, it got it's crazy because we just we're celebrating our 5-year anniversary this year, which is wild to me because it still feels like we just started. So we're about to celebrate throughout the whole year. But really, we've been working on this for like 9 years. Started working on it as soon as I graduated from U of I.
U of I Champaign?
2015, down to Champaign.
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah. I know about Green Street a little bit.
That's
you know,
it.
Before all the changes and the remodels, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. I know a little something about it.
Brothers on Thursday, everything.
Listen, High Dive used to be busting, Somas, you know what I'm saying? I used to be out there wilding back in my day. You know what I'm saying?
Already know, bro.
A little bit. You know, Cotton Club weekend at the Canopy.
Come on,
You know, parties in the Union.
Come on, man. All the alpha parties, man. Shout out to the bros.
Yeah. Alpha parties, IOTA parties. You know what I'm saying? But my fault. Go ahead.
You good. So it really started from back then, you know. I had, at the time when I was on campus, I had an app. It was called The Move.
Okay.
And it was always about experiences. That's always what I feel like life is about. You know, when you really kind of dial this all back, all we got is the memories of our experiences, right? So we've always been trying to find ways to enhance our experiences. And the Move app was, you know, it went crazy on campus when we first dropped it. We had 5,000 downloads first month, 10,000 active users. You know, it was wild. Like,
you created an app in college.
Yeah, I launched the app in college. Shout out to the movers. You know.
So what was you going to school for?
I went to school, man, bro. So when I went to school, right, it was like my parents are West African, right?
Right.
So of course you got to be a doctor, you got to be an engineer, you got to be a lawyer. So I started off in all of those categories. I was like, I'm gonna do this engineer. Saw how high I had to go in calc. I was like, man, I gotta recalculate. Then I started switching up, you know, and I was gonna do the law thing. Wasn't really feeling that.
Too much after school.
I was always trying to figure out how to like merge the things that I was interested in, right? And I was always interested in culture, music, fashion, you know, experiences, you know, taste and just art, you know, and it was always all of those different things is kind of what I spent my time outside of the classroom doing and building. So a lot of the homies that I grew up with are some of our biggest musicians right now in the space, some of our biggest artists, and this is like while we were all kind of up and coming. So I was trying to find a way to build something that could merge all of those worlds. And right away I realized what I need is a brand. right? Because I really loved my Adidas story. I started taking like advertising courses and things of that nature. That's ultimately what I ended up studying with a minor in business. And, I realized that all the brands that the culture has kind of put on, we really don't have ownership in, We always are partners or sponsors or collaborators. We're never really the owners. And, when we were building the move, we started throwing concerts, festivals, things of that nature. And me and my best friend at school at the time, we always used to have a running joke that we was going to build a liquor. So we was going to build a brand, right? And his dad had owned the liquor store in Matson that I used to stop at on the way to Champaign. So it was a running joke, but when larger brands started to reach out to us to sponsor these concerts and sponsor these gatherings.
So y'all was really having...
we was having motion, bro.
Y'all had motion down there.
We had motion down there, bro. So we started having a lot of brands reaching out. And ultimately, that's what started to spark my like studying of the industry, right? I was like, man, when I started asking questions about ownership, you start to realize like, man, like the amount that they're investing in the culture it's really a drop in their bucket.
Right.
But we don't really have any real stakes. So we wanted to just build something that was true and authentic to our experience. We were always drinking tequila.
Hold on, we gonna get there. We gonna get there.
We gonna do it.
Look, you jumping the gun. You jumping the gun. We gonna get there. Look.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Riot, and I need you to do one sminy. Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Riot, and I just need you to do one small favor for me. Head on over to your app store, search iLLANoiZE. Hit the first thing that pops up because we the one and only, and download the iLLANOiZE app.
Bless.
Right, we all took our shot. He was looking at us crazy, Jones. Like he was like, "Y'all took the whole shot."
He said, "No, you gotta savor. You gotta sip it." So we gotta sip it. Okay, I thought a shot.
Yeah, he's sipping it. I think
you know why? You know why we always say that? Because when I went to Mexico for the first time, right, out of college, that's how I used to drink tequila. I'll be so used to shooting it, right. And I remember I shot it in one of the first meetings, and they were looking at me so crazy. They were like. The distiller at the time, he said it takes 7 to 8 years for an agave plant to grow. He was like, we then have to go through the full distillation process. So all that time that we just took to put it in this bottle, and you didn't eat, what notes did you taste? And I was like, man. So that's when I stopped taking shots. But sometimes, man, you got to get to the point, right?
Yeah, hurry up.
Sometimes we just got to get to the point. So I feel you. I'm here with you.
So before the break, you talked about being in college and starting your own app and then leading you to your own brand and some of the reasons why. It made me think about just how we are as just Black millennials and trying to be entrepreneurs. What are some of the biggest like success stories you could say and like some of your challenges too?
That's a great question. I think, one, the challenges are always the things that lead to the success. So I think I'll start there, right? We even put it around the bottle. If you kind of look at, there's a message in the bottle around the neck, if anyone ever looks at it. But we always say learn from the losses, because it was really the losses and those lessons that ultimately got the product here. First things first, man, you got to make sure that right out the gate, you have a strong team, right? Like your team is everything. We have the whole community behind us that helped us get to this point, right? We can't thank them enough, and that's why we're always going to reinvest back into the community. But team is really important. Man, the L's are long, right?
Yeah.
Like we initially when we were first starting the brand, when you're so eager to like make it happen, you kind of ignore your gut or you ignore your intuition. So that was the first lesson I learned. Always stick to your gut, right? Like I already caught bad energy from certain people that I would allow to be on the team and things of that nature. Ended up working with the wrong folks, right? So, me and my business partner lost our entire savings into this brand before we ever launched. So I would say the resources and knowing like which folks are true and authentic, your gut's never gonna lie on that. So that's the first thing. Never ignore your gut, Right. That was one of the biggest lessons. I'll tell you guys the story, but it's long. So
we got time. That's another thing about having your own platform. You it's done when you say it's done.
Man, it's a long story how we lost this, but really it was like the brand failed before we even launched. You know, it was we were working with some cold cats, bro. Some cold cats. I'm thinking we're paying for permits, we're paying for and it, you know, at the time.
So hold on, before you get into that, because you know we talked about college,
yeah,
and we talked about the Move app.
Mm-hmm.
So like from the Move app,
right?
Because you know now Chance is probably up and away, and your cousin Kami is turning up. Yep. Vic is running wild. They turn. Like, where are you at this time?
At this time, so I ended up getting into the music management space after that. So when I came out of school, you know, a lot of the homies were just like, man, you just went to school for business. Like, this is where, you know, our business is at. This is areas we need help. Like, can you help in these areas? And I'd always kind of just been like a soundboard for folks. So I think naturally, organically, you know, I ended up doing some music management. Me and some other homies started another startup on the side, which was for concerts and festivals. Shout out to my brothers Jeremy, Derek, Muhammad, Vic Rivera. You know, we were doing a lot on the concert and experience space. So that was kind of my arena, and I still had a day job at the time, right? So I'm still doing 9-to-5 stuff. But outside of that, I'm working in music, I'm working in culture, and I'm plotting on this.
Right.
So that's where I'm at when things are going crazy.
So when do you switch from being a music manager to be like, now that I'm plotting on it, it's time to move on it?
Yeah. So it was right when I graduated, and you know, I really started studying the industry, and funding for the app became a problem, right? So we are some of the first movers in tech. So when we went to Silicon Valley, man, and I remember when I walked in there, you know, we walked into it's like a huge tech fair. People got crazy shit that they're working on, right? Medical devices, fintech, all sorts of things. So I'm like, man, we coming in here with a social app, we're tweaking, right?
Right.
But when we set up our demos and we set up the app, we had the longest line in the space. They started interviewing us. We didn't have no promo.
So what app is this for? The Move app?
This is for the Move app.
Okay.
Right. And still with all of that, folks were coming up to us at the time because how we were addressing experiences, it wasn't just like, man, let's show you what's going on around you. We were having video invites that you could get. So now if you a celebrity and you about to invite somebody to imagine you getting a message in your phone directly from like a Chance, right? And they're telling you what the move is for the day. Or imagine if you got the live stream of the event before you even get there. I'm giving people the keys, but really we coming back with that. So
listen, listen. Like, hold on, let me see if it's busting. Oh, it's rocking. Let's go. Let's go.
Exactly. So when we were demoing, folks were coming up to us and they were like, "Man, Snapchat is looking for an API like this, man. You guys are onto something. You got it." But crazy enough, from there, once, you know, it's expensive to run a software company, right? Like you got to pay for everything on the front end, and you really don't see any returns into the back end. So we went out to go and try to raise some funds, man. So I'm talking about the full pitch schedule. We're showing our active users. We're showing how much engagement we have. I'm thinking it's a shoo-in. Bro, we could not raise any funds for this project at all.
Nobody.
Right? Nobody. And all the rooms we were walking in, right?
Right.
The tech community is so small, and it's such a little boys club that it's like, man, we don't look like none of the people in this room.
That was my next question, because I know watching Earn Your Leisure, they was talking about us being black, being in these rooms as far as in Silicon Valley, and there's no representation of us in there.
Zero, bro. And I'm talking about 2013 to 2015, right?
Right.
So it's
it's none in there.
Nothing. We didn't have. I probably didn't bump into any women in the room. We didn't see any people of color in the room at the time. You know, it's like you're going in and you're pitching to a bunch of white guys, and it's like, how is this gonna work?
Right.
You know, well, how is this? but they don't understand how the move, even the trademark on the name that we
Right.
had, is so embedded in culture, right? We're like,
They don't even understand what the move is.
you don't even get the catchphrase at this point.
Oh my gosh, what is the move?
Right.
What is move? You want me to move out the way?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what ultimately led us to start thinking like, man, we need something that can scale like tech, that has, you know, it needs to be recession proof, you know, because the recession hit me and my fam real crazy. My dad was in the real estate market. He was doing mortgages and stuff like that. So you know what happened in '08.
Right.
And it needs to be able to be buy low, sell high, so that I don't have to be talking to folks about why this makes sense. I could show and prove based off of actual tangible sales. And that's what ultimately made us start looking into the spirit space, right? And it was still about experiences. It was always about how do we enhance people's experience and bring the vibes, right? And ultimately, that's what kind of led to the journey.
Oh man, listen, y'all don't go nowhere, man. We is chopping it up with the owner of Jon Basíl. Do not go nowhere. Matter of fact, while y'all at it, pull your glasses up, pull them all the way up, put a little ice in there. You know what I'm saying? If you want to. Is it good to put ice in there?
You know what? You could put some ice in there. Yeah, definitely put some ice in there. It's nice and chill.
Nice.
Don't let it get too watered down, but
Right.
for sure.
For sure. What matter of fact, before we go to break, what's your favorite? Do you mix it at all with anything?
Man, you know, if I drink the Blanco, sometimes I make some cocktails with that.
Like what you
Real
doing on a
traditional.
Sunday morning watching the game? How you drinking it?
Man, I'm just let me get it neat. Just like I'm sipping right now. This is how I do
And
it.
sip it. Listen, y'all got it here first. Look, we don't go nowhere, man. We gonna stay turned up.
Is your business struggling? Trying to get your followers up? No problem. You can advertise with us right now. Tap that link above. Now let's get back to the show.
Let me get a toast for my people one more time in the building. Everybody lift your cups, lift your cups, lift your cups. Yeah, oh, y'all got cameras in y'all hand. I am so sorry, man. Listen, this is good. One thing I want to know, brother, is because your name isn't your name. I mean, isn't the body. Your name ain't Jon Basíl.
Nah. Jon Basíl.
Jon Basíl, sorry.
Yeah, so you good.
I mean, this is how we all pronounce it in the hood, just to let you know.
Bro, I already know. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. So we have a whole campaign right now going on called It's Basíl. So that was really intentional.
Okay.
I'm loading up. But yeah, Jon is my grandfather's name. So
Okay.
Jon is my grandfather's name, and Basíl is my dad's godfather. And in our tradition, you got to name your first and oldest son after your dad. So my dad was naming my oldest brother, Jon, and then Basíl played a real integral role in how my father came to school in the States. So he combined those two names and named my older brother Jon Basíl. So that's where the name came from. It was about really paying homage to the folks that sacrificed to have us. We the only ones in the family who were born and raised in Chicago. That gave us all the opportunities that we have. So we just wanted to make sure we were, paying homage to the folks that came before us. Now also recognizing that there's a whole generation coming after us. So, we in the game right now. So what are you about to do? How do you leave it better for them? So that's really what it's about. It's just about sipping to legacy, sipping to,
Sipping to legacy. That's
That's a tagline right there.
Sipping to legacy. I'm finna sip one more time, brother. Sipping to legacy.
When thinking about legacy, I wanted to ask you, what was the state of the spirits industry when you guys thought about making this brand? Like, what was that?
Man, I think at the time, right, I could probably count on my hands how many black-owned brands we might have, because the liquor industry is really small. There's hundreds of brands, right, but they're all owned by, larger corporations ultimately, because it's such an old industry, right? So when we were coming in, I was like, how do I approach this from a fresh perspective? One, but two, there's not a lot of folks that look like us in the industry in the first place. So when we was first launching, it was like, especially at 22, 23, folks were like, this man is tweaking. He's crazy. There's no way you about to go to Mexico, start a tequila brand. We were definitely the first multicultural, millennial owned and operated brand I want to say in the world. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I still haven't seen a brand before.
Listen, you the first.
I still haven't seen a brand before us at the time. So it was still really controlled, but we really understood that how we were creating experiences and how we were creating our experiences were unique to us.
Right.
You can't replicate that at all. So it's about really aligning the lifestyle to the brand. And we knew that if we did that, we could compete, and we could, even if we're not trying to go against the larger corporations and, because their bag is unlimited,
right,
we could still make sure that we have something that's authentic and organic for us and to us. And that's kind of how we just jumped in.
So how was like the unique like marketing brand strategy for the product? Because I know that you were talking about just that word unique stood out to me. And in the Black industry, spirits industry, is hard for like the viewer or certain people that are not in the Black community to understand like, why is this product important? What makes it stand out? But we make it stand out. So what unique way do you showcase the legacy of not only your family, where you come from? So through the marketing ways of Room, like how are you displaying that?
We're storytellers, ultimately. That's a great question, but we're storytellers, right? So I love film. I'm a filmmaker, and it was about having a platform that could share stories that were true to us. So we love to share stories of folks around us, folks in our community, and we're constantly telling those stories. So that was the first thing, right? That's what gave the brand its voice. You started to be able to identify and relate to some of these stories and see that they're true, right? Because a lot of the stories that we were telling, like y'all, they're not being highlighted, right? You got to be in it to know it.
Facts.
So it was the fact that we were in it and truly a part of what was happening and being created. That's kind of what gave us that unique perspective. And a lot of the larger corporations can't replicate that or pay for it, because they would have to be boots on ground, and it's just different. So that was the first thing. And then secondly, we realized that we was at a point in time where we could truly curate our own experiences and have folks come and experience the brand in a way that was true and a way that we wanted them to, right? So it's not just about before you needed to have a Super Bowl commercial to be able to get the product out or get the word out about the brand. Now we could, we're the ones throwing the parties, right? We throwing the concerts. So if we're doing it anyway, it's very easy for us to just place our product and our brand and have a real intimate conversation with a person face to face.
Right.
It's different than if you seeing like Diddy at the time. I think like Diddy and Hov 50 were probably like the three people that had brands at that time. Now it's open. Now the celebrity game is crazy with spirits, but at the time it was probably just those three that we had seen. But even there, it was like that's far out of reach, right? They're celebrities. We don't see them on a daily basis. With us, it was damn, like I went to school with this dude.
I bumped into him yesterday on Walmart.
He was just at Export.
Oh, for
you know
sure.
what I mean? Like we was just hooping, like literally just now hooping. So it's a very different approach, and I think that was ultimately where the opportunity was. But that's what sparked the initial momentum of the brand.
I know you said when you was in the tech world, you was entering rooms and there was nobody that looked familiar or could relate. Right. Now you over in the spirit world, and there's nobody in these rooms that look like you or relate. Man. So like going from one space to another space, how do you present your stuff so they can understand where you coming from this time, because the first time they didn't get it?
Man, bro, that's a great question, right? It's like, I feel like for us, we gotta be masters of the code switch, right? To bring things down to a level for folks to truly be able to understand. But here we had a leg up because we knew, it was as simple as if the product gets created, which was the first step for me, right? It was design the product. Shout out my brother Nico Washington. We worked for like 9 months on just designing what the front label would look like. Then building the packaging, right? Once you kind of have the finished tangible good, then it's like show and prove, right? So we used to walk into the room, you know, my partner's Palestinian, you know,
Okay.
shout out Billy Taher. Like, so it's a black dude, it's a Palestinian dude, and we walking into a room, 22, 23, saying that this is the brand. First things first, when I used to really walk in and be like, yeah, I'm the founder of this, you know, they'll be like,
Right.
who you working for, first of all, right? So they didn't even, just the age thing was already a problem. But it was, if you can convince one store or one location to just take one case and see what happens, then it was up to us to just make sure the word got out and make sure it got off the shelf.
Right.
That's the difference between the tech world, right? Because right away, we're buying low, and you know, it's like it's flipping a product. In the tech world, you're trying to build a software and then have people come to it, and it's too much building that has to take place before
You even get to put it in front
get
of
to a point where you could put it in front of people. So I think that was the difference. It was just like, we about to go kick the door down. It was that simple. Let's kick down the door.
So how was it when you go down to Mexico and you chop it up with him, and he give you the ingredient, like you said, they tell you how to sip it. You know what I'm saying? Now that you got a product and you come back home and you bust it down with the guys, like, look, this is what we pushing. Like, what was that like? What was that moment like?
Crazy. So, man, it took about 4 years before I had a finished product, right? Because at the time it wasn't as, the spirit space wasn't as popping as it was now, right? Now everybody, all the celebrities are kind of sending their people down there, coming back with a brand. But back then it was still very, very controlled. And tequila, which was the only spirit that represented, you know, that could align with where we were from, the environments that we in. Like, we like to have a good time, right?
Right.
Everything else is a downer. Tequila is the upper. That's the only spirit that does that. So we had to have a spirit that could exist in Ghana, exist in Nigeria, exist in Chicago, New York, you know, and still kind of have the same vibe. But it was the most difficult spirit to get at the time because it was so controlled by the Mexican government. But I think once you kind of connect with folks on a true level and they start to see how serious you take it, how much you respect the tradition, then it's like they become your allies. And as folks started to see, I remember the first person that we were, you know, working with, he was like, you know what, man, this is crazy because I can't believe you're down here trying to do this, but you remind me of myself when I was younger, so I'm gonna help you out, you know? And it's like when you're making those real connections, because they're not used to owners of the brand actually being on ground and trying to source all the materials, and they're used to huge teams coming in and just cutting checks,
Reps
right?
and whatnot.
Reps and all of that. So it was a human level, right? It was just face to face, one to one. So once we finally got it done and put the time in, those first 2 years was strictly education. Right. Then when we finally got the product and it was here on ground, man, I remember my dad called me and he was like, man, you just got a package. I don't know what's in it, but it smells like tequila. And that was probably I remember I left my job so fast, man. It was a great feeling for sure.
You said something about education and being on ground down there and being hands-on with everything and the whole process. What's something about the tequila culture and the whole environment down there, something that you really didn't know that you learned and that you was like, damn, this is dope, I'm going to take this with me?
Man, right away it's patience. Patience, man. I was always like, you know, we have that hustle mentality. It's fast. It's like, how can we get to things quick, right? What's the fastest way we can do things? This really slowed me down because I tried to do it fast and lost everything, right? So it was understanding tradition takes, you know, you got to build over time to build something that has tradition. And that's the thing that we carry with the brand still to this day. I have such a huge respect for all of the folks that work in the industry, because there's so many different levels. You know, you have the humidors who are actually, you know, harvesting the agave plants. You have distillers. Everything is a different person, from the labels to the caps to the glasses. You see the whole ecosystem, and you see how everybody has to work together. So everyone knows everyone in the industry. That's right. It's like once you kind of start plugging pieces, it's like, oh yeah, I know him. I could. The tradition and the family atmosphere and the patience that it takes for something like this to be where it is now, we had to carry that same energy into building the brand. That's why, and that's how we got through the pandemic. You know, it was realizing like, yo, gotta be patient. That's how a lot of brands don't make it 5 years, you know,
Right.
So that's how we made it to this point. So I think ultimately those are the things that really that stood out to me, that I still carry with with the brand wherever we go.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl Pretty Riot, and I'm sitting pretty, starting riots right here on Illinois.
I'm gonna let you finish, but did you tell them to listen to Illinois Radio?
Every Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Well, I was getting to that, but y'all made a point, so I hope y'all tune in.
Do that.
Wow.
We was talking about legacy off air, and we was just talking about what the name means to you, and that's just so important. When you thought about even creating a name and continuing the brand, who are the people you were thinking about? Like the people that look like you, that young person. Who are you speaking to?
100%. It's the folks that are dreaming right now. So our whole thing, if you kind of look on the neck of the bottle, there's a whole message, and it tells you exactly who this bottle is dedicated to. And we want folks to dream forward. That's what it's ultimately about. Because we all got dreams and we all have so many different aspirations, but the way the system and society and the world is set up, it'll just make you feel like it's so impossible, right? Like it can't be a reality. Ultimately, we have to realize that all of this, everything we're doing right now was impossible at a point in time, right? It's a lot of us are the first people to graduate, first doctors, first whatever you want to call it in the family, right? So we have to realize this moment in time is just a moment in time. We got to keep pushing the dream forward so that when folks come after us and they can see, oh man, I see, damn, bro, what? That's a spirits company here. That's a radio station. It's not just athletes or musicians or what they try to tell you can be. It's really, truly unlimited. So that's what it's about. That's who it's for. And that's what we're trying to make sure that folks understand. And we just going to see how far we can take it ultimately, because somebody's going to come after us and take it
Further.
100 yards further, and then so on and so forth, right? It's just kick down the door as much as you can. So,
And that's pretty dope for you to think like that, you know what I mean, and passing it on. One thing you spoke on earlier was some of the L's. And not knowing, you know, how crazy the business can be. You spoke on, you know, having to pay this person, that person. Would you mind letting us know like how that whole thing went down?
Man, that is a crazy story. I don't even want to shed light on that person right now because they probably still out there. And you know what? Let me pour up because I hope they see this shit that they done missed out on, man.
Yeah, they
still
did y'all hear that?
We
Pour the
can't be-
gift. Pour. Let me see.
We can't be stopped. That's the thing.
Let
Like,
me pour it in the microphone so they can
Come on,
understand
man. Let 'em
how
know.
it sound when you pour it in the cup. Y'all gotta listen.
there you go. There
Listen
you go.
to that. Sound like good water, don't it? You hear me? Y'all get that in
You
the
know?
podcast and in the video. Y'all will hear it.
Let them know, because at first it was like we lost. Imagine, man, I had put, we had thrown some shows, and I've been saving up from all the different shows we were throwing, and we put all of our investment into this, and we was working with some folks that basically would. It was a con. It was a big con, right? Because at the time you had to work through companies that were based in Mexico, right? So I'll be thinking I'm paying for different permits, paying for different regulations and everything like that. And, when I started to really look into it and start calling some of the suppliers, I'm like, yo, what's the status on this? This is before my Spanish was decent. So when I started to look into it, they're like, man, we're still waiting for payment. What's going on? I'm like, what? I didn't put everything into it already. So L's like that, man, it really grounds you,
Right.
you know, and you really have to ask yourself at that point, what is the next step and can you keep going? But ultimately, man, I always just kind of give glory to God, man, because I remember I was driving Uber at the time, and it was you know, I was doing the food delivery, and it was a blizzard. This was the winter when Chicago was crazy and the Super Bowl was on like a blizzard day, and folks was just ordering food like crazy because no one wanted to go
outside. Yeah,
I wanted to watch the Super Bowl, but I remember I had to hit the streets real quick, try to run it up. And my car swerved. Those were the Honda days. Those was before the Beamer days. So you know, the Honda was.
Y'all hear that?
The Honda was.
Drop a bomb on the.
The Honda was swerving, and I remember I had to pray. I was like, man, like, is this, like, am I just gonna take this L, or am I gonna really try to re-rock it? And ultimately, going back to Mexico and representing myself, you know, and actually building it from the ground up. And taking the extra 3 years that it took to build the product and finally get it, I needed all of that education. Because during that time, I'm doing sampling for, you know, Diageo, that's Ciroc and Don Julio and everything like that. Because I know what I'm on at this point, right? I'm doing multicultural marketing for, you know, Jack Daniels and all of these different brands, and I'm getting the game.
Oh, so you in there getting the knowledge?
Now I'm getting the knowledge because I already know what's in the oven.
Okay,
I know.
Let me go
what's
around
cooking.
this and let me go.
So I'm like, let me really learn, you know. And ultimately, I think we kind of rush things. So that patience, I always go back to that. Crazy enough, that's what my name means as well. That's what Uduimoh means. But that patience is what it takes to build anything worthwhile. So, you know, the story was crazy. That was one of our L's, but we're still taking L's. I took an L last week, you know. So this past week, right now, I'm sipping with y'all. This is like now the up.
Yeah.
It's now we're going back up the hill, but we just fell last week.
What you say? We lessons.
We learn from the losses, man. They all lessons at the end of the day. So,
and you also talk starting a business up and then getting hit with the pandemic.
My good man, bro.
What was that like?
Man, bro, the world opened up, but I don't think people realize businesses are still hit from the pandemic. I know a lot of companies that I was following, you know, and just kind of, you know, when you're really like just looking at a lot of different industries, across different industries, but, you know, if I'm thinking about consumer packaged goods, I know a lot of brands that existed prior to COVID that no longer exist, right? And we had to change our entire strategy because at the end of the day, how we were getting the product out was by creating these experiences, right? Folks can't even come outside anymore.
Damn.
So we had to re-rock the whole situation, trying to find different innovative ways to get in front of folks. We was hosting happy hours on Instagram Live and bringing like all of our homies who DJ and having them tune in and all sorts of stuff to try to keep, you know, the branding alive. But then once the world did open up finally, the supply chain effects of the pandemic were insane. So product shortages, not being able to there was a global glass shortage. Nobody even like
a global
glass shortage. I'm
really?
talking
I didn't
about,
even know about this. We ran out of chicken. Almost,
you know,
but we didn't hear about the glass.
Bro, I couldn't get the glass to even fill the tequila. So we were sitting on juice. We just couldn't. We
put
couldn't
it in
even.
nothing.
What you gonna put it in? We're not gonna downgrade the quality by bringing it in plastic or something like that, right? So, man, the pandemic really was crazy, but I really treat it like a crash course because now I'm like we're battle tested at this point.
Right, y'all done
You know
been
what
through
I
the
mean?
shit.
We just made it through the storm at this point, and we still here. You know, we had to make some strategic calls, and but that lesson about patience just hit, right? Because now it's like the brand exists, so folks are gonna tell you where it should be, what you should be doing, and be thinking like, oh man, y'all tweaking, y'all should be. But there's a lot of back end stuff that, you know, so you just gotta be patient. You just gotta know that when the moment does finally come,
Go with it.
Gas. It's gas now. It's just gas.
I know.
So that's where we at now. Gas time.
Gas time. I know you spoke on your name being Patience. Uduimoh Umolu, right? Am I pronouncing it right?
Umolu. Yes,
you said your name is meant for patience.
Yeah, it means he who has patience and perseverance.
That's cold. That's a tweet.
Man,
That's a tweet.
Thank you, brother.
That's a shirt.
Shout out to my parents, man.
Man, shout out to them.
Man.
Have you had a shot and just chill with your parents and
Yeah, man. I think the craziest moment, my dad is probably the only person who has seen like the full operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so fortunate and glad that we got that moment because unfortunately he passed away in 2019 right before the pandemic.
I'm sorry, hear that, brother. My condolences.
He saw it. You know what I mean? And I know like the conversations that we had over this drink was crazy because he saw when we lost all the bread.
Mm.
He was like, I told him I was going to Mexico. Mm-hmm. We were watching Sicario.
Oh shit!
Like, I'm going to Mexico.
That's the wrong movie to watch.
That's the wrong movie to watch, right?
That's the wrong. Hey,
because you see what the media tries to tell you about,
cartel heavy.
That's what they try to tell us, right? So, and that's what my dad used to think at the time too. He's never been to Mexico, so he saw the entire process from start to finish, and I'm just glad he got to see the finished product. He got to see when we first got into the stores. He saw the full warehouse and all the product done. So it was really, really satisfying. My OG took a little bit of time coming over because she's very religious. She don't want to.
No, she don't want to be sipping liquor,
nothing like that, right? But even now, she's helping out. She lives in Ghana now. She moved back to Ghana, and she's helping with the product out there. So it's really become. It's a lot of family and friends and community that supports the brand and has helped the brand get to this point. And I'm so grateful, that's ultimately what has brought it here. Because without them, without all the people who've helped along the way, whether that's been like a share or a like or, telling a friend about it, we wouldn't exist, right? So, man, I'm grateful for those moments, definitely with the parents and everything like that.
Speaking of Ghana, y'all was in was you out there for the Black Star Fest?
Yeah, man, we was part of the Black Star Line Festival for sure. Of course.
So what? Tell me, what was it like drinking Jon Basíl and at the crib? 50,000
people out there. Shout out to all my guys.
I heard it was live. I wasn't there.
It was crazy.
I heard it was crazy.
It was a monumental.
But
night.
You drinking your drink. Representing your people.
I'm talking about Erykah Badu on stage, and I'm sipping JB.
Ooh.
I had to take a moment. I had to take a moment, man.
Take me with you right now.
I had to take a moment.
Paint this picture.
The women are fly. The weather is breezy.
Talk to him.
What? I just got the Reposado in the cup. Are you kidding me?
And you got Erykah in front of you.
Erykah Badu on stage.
How she looking? Tell me how she looking, dog.
I'm still shooting my shot, man.
Ooh,
shout out Miss Erykah, man.
As you should.
I'm still shooting that.
They left this story out. Ain't nobody tell me the story like this.
I was 3 shots in. You think I'm not gonna shoot? I had to shoot. I had to say what's up, And
did you offer a sip? Like, you thirsty?
I should have, man. But I ain't even make it that far. She's like a wave, man. She's just a wave.
Hey,
as soon as
I want to get hit by.
As soon as you see her, and it was crazy because it was a whole group of like kids that had. The concert was a free festival at the time, so a lot of folks who would never be exposed to some of these artists got a chance to really get in front of them. That's why I'm really, really proud of the team on that. Like Chance, Vic, Taryn, Denisha, Mike B, man, so many different people. Michael Brontier, it was to see people who've only seen folks through a screen now be in front of it was crazy. Right. And I remember like a mob had rushed Erykah, and she just had like threw a wad of cash so that folks could have some. It was just crazy, man. She's a whole energy. It was a wave.
And I hope you really get the hit by that wave.
Man, bro.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm with you, brother. You deserve it.
Hey,
my
man,
dude.
I'll drink to that, bro.
I'll drink
to that, man.
Cool. You just listen.
Hey, Miss Erykah.
Hey. Look, we gonna make this a clip. Manifestation is real, brother. Man, what's next? What's next for the brand? What's next? Yeah. What do you see? You told me y'all was all year y'all showing out.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Because we here now, bro. That's how I'm approaching this year. Like I'm really like, the brand is here,
Right.
and the vision is big, and the dream is big. We it's not just tequila. We have so many stories to tell. The lifestyle is different, and we're really about to start trying to showcase that. So this year we're expanding. You know, we going into new markets. Shout out New York. I got to wear the New York fitted because we coming. You know, we have Añejo about to drop. That's man, that's gonna be scary. Chicago gets it first. For sure. I'm gonna make sure Chicago get it first, but Añejo's gonna be crazy. Like that, I'm really excited for.
I had somebody tell me I only drink Añejo because I got hoe in me, and I got hoe in me. I didn't understand it, but
bro, it's Añejo, man. I'm accepting no responsibility, please, man. Like it's that sip that it is. Man, it's a crate. We've had the product for a while.
Okay.
I've just been working on the packaging and the design and just making sure that, you know, it feels the right way.
So would that be around summertime, Shy? We gonna be seeing that?
Maybe even sooner. You know. So that's loading. But yeah, so a lot of big stuff this year. A lot of expansion, a lot of growth. You know, we're looking to try to make some big deals as well, get into a lot of larger chains. You know, we're coming to knock down some doors for sure.
So how can people find Jon Basíl in the store? Like if they in Chicago, where they can find it. If they in New York, where they can find it. If they in Ghana, where they can find it.
For sure. So if you log on to the website, we got the locations there. There's a little location tab. It'll pick up your geolocation and tell you the nearest store to you. We working on a few solutions too that's gonna make it even easier for you to find, but you can find everything if you stay in tune on our social platform at Jon Basíl Tequila. I'm at Finding Uduimoh. That's how you stay in tune.
Hey, listen, give out your social medias and stuff one more time.
That's at Jon Basíl Tequila across everything. That's Jon, Jon, no H, Basíl Tequila, and then my platform Finding Uduimoh, Finding _Uduimoh.